Alright, so let's spread some Christmas joy with a Christmas movie about the apocalypse. Nothing like planning your own kids' deaths to get you in the old Yuletide spirit. Silent Night is brought to us by director Camille Griffin and stars Keira Knightley, Matthew Good, Annabelle Wallis, and Roman Griffin Davis. Nell, Simon, and their son Art are ready to welcome friends and family to the perfect Christmas gathering. Perfect for except one thing. Everybody's gonna die. So this is a Christmas movie, but yeah, it's a bit different than what you're used to with Christmas movies. Apparently there's just this poisonous cloud that is blanketing the earth that is killing everyone it comes in contact with, which is everyone, in an extremely painful and agonizing way. So instead of dying by hemorrhaging to death through your eyeballs and every orifice on your body, the government has issued out a pill to everyone called the exit pill. You take this pill and you fall asleep and, you get the idea. You go out, as they say, with dignity. And that's what this movie is. It's the day and night before this cloud is going to arrive. So this family and friends all gather at this house to have one last Christmas dinner and just get together and, just kind of like say bye to everybody, and then they're all gonna pop their pills and Merry Christmas, motherfuckers! Now this movie's a black comedy. Not a dark comedy, a black comedy. Like inky black. Some people are not gonna be on board with its brand of comedy. However, if black comedy is your type of thing, you're gonna find some really funny moments in this movie. The dry black humor here is biting as hell, but that's not the only thing this movie is. What do people do when they are faced with inevitable death? It is going to happen. There's nothing you can do about it. You cannot run from it. These people have already accepted that fact, at least for the most part. So this is people that are dealing with what's it gonna be like that we're not going to wake up tomorrow morning. You have parents in this house with many children that they know when they go up to bed tonight, they're going to give their kids a pill and watch them fade off into death. You've got people that are speaking probably more honestly than they have in their entire lives because they know there's no tomorrow. And that made this premise really interesting. I really liked how the movie explored that side of things. Sure, the whole thing about this poisonous gas and where it's coming from and all that stuff, that's interesting, I guess, but the movie doesn't even focus on that. It is just what it is. They touch on it slightly, but they don't really delve too much into that. The fact of the matter is, it's coming. There's nothing you can do about it. This movie is all about the people and how they're dealing with the situation and what they're gonna do with their last night on Earth. However, it does touch on it, and when it does, that is when the movie becomes a bit of a message movie. It and the filmmakers clearly have a view on a certain thing that is going on in the world, and that's fine. Granted, in these parts of the movie, it is pretty heavy-handed, but it doesn't take over too much of the movie. When it's going on, it's kind of like, oh god, okay, here we go. But, that is what it is. That's their viewpoint, and that's fine. I'm not saying I disagree with it. I'm just saying that when you start throwing messages into movies, I do kind of start to roll my eyes sometimes, even if they're messages I agree with. Thankfully though, the movie doesn't go too deep into it. It kind of throws it out there and then kind of moves on with what the movie's really about, these people. And when the movie is focusing on the people, that's when it's at its greatest. We have two characters that are debating whether they want to take the pill or not. Both of them for very different reasons, and both their reasons do make sense. Both sides of the argument, whether we should take this pill and die with dignity, or whether we should just try and see what happens. Maybe they're wrong. Maybe we could survive, or whatever their reasoning is. Both sides of the argument have valid points. They make it known up front, there is no way around this. You are going to die. It is up to you how that's going to happen. Now, it probably comes as no surprise that the ending of this movie is difficult on a whole bunch of levels. I don't want to give away what happens. I mean, it's kind of obvious what happens. It's more how things happen to certain people. Let's just say that it's really nerve-wracking. It's like they stretch the process out just so long that you're like, oh my god. You have a character that has to continuously go get things for the stupidest reasons, but it makes sense. You get why. It's like even with the frustration of having to go back and forth and do this thing this character's doing, they're kind of prolonging it. They're frustrated in doing it, but at the same time, they're okay with doing it because of what it's prolonging. And as the audience, we're just watching this situation like, oh my god, they keep getting right there at it and then stopping. Something keeps coming up. No, I don't want this inevitable end to happen, but the back and forth is just nerve-wracking. That, and a few minutes earlier in the film, there is a scene in particular where we have a character that sees something, and we, the audience, get to see this as well, and it is pretty fucking horrifying. And really this entire scene, what we see, the reaction of this character, everything else that's going on in this moment, it's horrifyingly powerful. I mean, this scene is like, holy shit, a lot of stuff just happened, and while it is pretty just horrifying, you can't look away. It's amazingly done. There are parts of this movie that are made just wonderfully. You can't look away. It's not always that something like big, huge, and grand is happening on screen. Usually it's the performances. This is a character-driven film, so if the performances didn't work, the movie don't work. Keira Knightley shows us once again she's not just the girl from the Pirates of the Caribbean movie. She's got some legitimate acting chops. You believe her as this mother that's just trying to keep this household together, keep everybody happy in this last night. The anguish and desperation she shows throughout this film is awesome, and it's not always right there on the surface. Sometimes it's right below, but you can always see that something's not quite right. Matthew Good, as well as the father, especially closer to the end of the film, is astonishing. This guy totally sold it. He is the father of this family. These are his children. I don't care if they're just actors. In those moments, I believe that is his wife. These are his kids, and he's doing this unimaginable thing. And then there's Roman Griffin Davis, which many of you will remember from Jojo Rabbit. And no, Jojo Rabbit was not a fluke. The kid does fantastic here as well, and he has quite the role here. He is one of the people that is debating whether he should or should not take this pill. He doesn't want to die, but more so, he doesn't want to be told that he has to. He wants to make the decision whether he takes this pill or he lets this poisonous gas take him. It should be up to him, but the decision has not been left up to him. This kid did a wonderful job here, and I can't wait to see what else he's in, because so far he is blowing me away. The list goes on because everybody here did a wonderful job. I mean, really, they all sold the shit out of these characters, and this was just some great performances from beginning to end. Guys, there's not really that much more I can say about Silent Night. It was a really interesting film that I had a really good time with. It gets a little bit pushy with its message in a couple of parts, but for the most part, it leaves all that shit to the wayside and concentrates on these characters and how they're dealing with the situation. We get some fantastic performances and characters that we do 100% believe in. And while it does have some scenes, especially later in the film, that are extremely difficult to watch, if you're up for it, it is totally worth a rent.
All he wanted was this.
I have to return some videotape.
Now you're probably only gonna watch this movie once, but that once is gonna be very affecting. It's gonna have you thinking about this scenario long after the credits have rolled, and you'll be wondering to yourself, what would I do in that situation? So if you're looking for a movie for the night that'll get those gears turning and you can handle the extremely black comedy here, then check out Silent Night one night, and I think you're gonna have a really good time with it. Well, maybe not a really good time because it is pretty fucking depressing, but you're gonna have an interesting time, that's for sure. So there it is, guys, my review of Silent Night. If you enjoyed and want more content like this, hit that subscribe button and help my little channel grow. If you want to help out the channel, check out my Patreon in the description below and become a jarhead and get some of the awesome benefits that go along with that, like these guys, and possibly join my top tier and become a bad motherfucker like my man Greg C and Dragon Con. If you liked what I had to say, give me a like. If not, let me know in the comments below why. And as always, stay sexy, Bristol.
I've seen the road, and there is no way I'm living like that.
So I didn't mention it in the review, and don't worry, I'm not gonna spoil anything, but the very end of this movie has a thing that happens that the implications surrounding that, the events that would occur directly after the credits roll on this movie, they are just so fucked up beyond words. Really, in a movie that is just surrounded in fucked up situations, this thing that happens after the credits roll is by far the most fucked up. God damn it, man. Just think about it. Think about it!